So we're at a time when we're being called to go so deep that it feels like we'll never get back up. And I'm noticing there are a lot of people too much in a hurry to bypass anything they get triggered by themselves, by themselves, from themselves, through themselves, and also by others, from others, and through others. And people don't know how to handle mirrors, reflections, projections, shadow. Because the automatic response is, I'll listen, but only for a bit. I'll listen, but only because I can give you advice. Or I'll listen and let's see what advice I can give you. I'll listen, but I'm not really going to listen. I'll listen, I don't want to listen. I'll listen, the list goes on. And one thing I'm noticing about all this is that something that I've done before, more in a lighter, maybe not so light note, more in a lighter way. Um, when you feel someone is doing that, you have by all the fucking right of all that is essential in your being. This is where your primordial sovereignty, I call it primordial sovereignty. It's your where you stand your ground. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to defend, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be giving over your power to the reaction. Because what's happening is that there's invalidation. Um, Personally, for me, I've learned how to do that for myself, where I learned to have compassion for myself, give myself time. People will call this brooding, fawning. I've heard this many times before. I've heard this different versions of it. But what is fawning to others for you is a healthy process, is a healthy way of going through the process. Because you allow yourself the emotions, you allow yourself to go so fucking deep. And I'm swearing here intentionally because um, it's the layer of the anger is not necessarily, I don't want to project it onto other people, not because I can't or can, but because I noticed that the depths of this whole process is something that a lot of people cannot take. And we're all experiencing this right now, right? Astrologically, Pluto is in Aquarius right now. So humanity is experiencing, and many people don't know how to deal with that. They just want to escape towards a solution. They want to escape towards some sort of like semblance of primate stability, um, anything to escape. And I'm noticing that now that even though it's all nice and rosy, rose-colored glasses and all that stuff, to run away from it. I would say you can say that the collective soul is calling each and every one of us to really face it head on, like get down and dirty, like as in, like give me some fucking COVID Ebola injected in me and I will survive because you're facing it head on. And there's a trust that comes from facing it because you are trusting, you're having faith. It's an unspoken type of faith that I find that comes through literally getting deep into the emotions and having that sort of that metamorphosis, that transmutative, regenerative, all that transmetamorphic complete change. And there are people who have talked to me. It's like, how do you do all that stuff? How do you stand people are negative around you? How do you stand all that stuff? I don't stand it. I process it inwards because I try to find time literally to, you can say, escape. This is the gift of escapism. This is the gift behind escapism. This is the gift behind fawning, brooding, processing the emotion. For me, it comes in form of ego death. Um, Again and again and again and again and again and again. And most people don't believe what I say because they don't understand what it's like to feel that way. I think humanity is only getting a taste, a part of it right now. Um, when they don't understand, like when, and that's not for them to understand. That's the point. It's not, but they are experiencing, you can see a taste of it. They haven't even gone to the depths of, at least for me, what I've gone through. And this is by no means saying that, oh, poor me kind of thing. No, no, no. It's, I realize that they're just, most humans today cannot do that. Right away, they go into what's called a positive vibe and all that stuff. And they go right away into this mode of, you know, I feel like I'm done, or, but because that's what they can handle. That's as far as they can go, and they feel like that's enough. And, and that's for them, that's their journey. But what they will not understand is for some of us who go through the depths of our experiences, when we go through that depth, and it's almost like, it's a trigger for them. And I feel like there's a strong, I know this as I sense it so strongly. But again, that's fine. They don't believe me. I do feel that when that happens, of course, it gets triggered in myself that it's like, oh, self-worth concerns or self-worth issues, mother-son issues, parent-child, all that stuff because I was abandoned, whatever, right? But at the same time, I have to honor that. I have to honor it's like, what was it for? Why did I perceive it that way? Because that's perception. It is perception, but we cannot bypass even perception or on a conditioning of a belief that something happened to me rather than for me. We have to honor that. Then we start to process the whole like, okay, now I realize out of all that stuff, there can be something better, but not in a way that's like better, not as in like I didn't like what happened, better as in growth, better, right? So when somebody, and this is unsolicited advice, I don't like giving advice. When someone actually does that, all those things, they look like they're listening to you. They feel like they're listening to you. See how far they can hold out until they finally give up and say, oh, you're just dwelling in the stuff. But are you? Because if you've had experiences in the past where you experience that quite often, it's almost like there's a buildup. And all you wanted was specifically that whole just sit there, right? Internally, what the anger will say, at least for me, this is what my anger has said: shut the fuck up, just be there for me. And if you can't, fuck off. Like seriously. So that's what it feels like. But that's the energy. I'm not saying that you need to say that, but if you do, you learn from it anyways. You realize there are people who are meant to be in your life. You realize that there are people who are not meant to be in your life, however long that may be. Could be for a lifetime. So you'll know. It isn't to exclude anyone. It isn't to push anyone away. It isn't to push yourself away. It's not anything there's no suppression at all. It's just you're allowing the emotions to be. You are validating. You are actually just saying, this is my emotion. This is the emotion I'm going through right now. If you could be with me right now and process that emotion with me, even if you're not really, you're not projecting those emotions, you're not actually telling them that it's hard, but you're really being honest. It's like, this is how I feel, whatever the circumstances. Because I've been guilty of that myself, where it's like, it wasn't right in the situation, but some people have come to me and they said so and so and so, and I didn't listen and realize now that it's like, oh, that's the higher, that's part of my path where I could have used that opportunity, but that's also a lesson for me. So, anyways, I thought I would just share this because the worst thing a person can do at least at this point in time, is invalidate anybody else. That is the number one thing, at least what I see, at least what I see, okay, that can further um, cause damage to relationships. And the last thing we need is to be divided. So, hope this helps. Thank you for watching. See you guys later. Bye.